Hey everybody, today we've got a showdown between Josh Shapiro for the Democrats and Glenn Youngkin for the Republicans. This was suggested to me in the comments, and this is a real great battle. Both of these guys are relatively popular governors, Shapiro in Pennsylvania, Youngkin in Virginia, so I think this is very close, and the map today is just a snapshot in time. Everything would come down to the national environment, or what the issues are at the time, or if any scandals happen to come up. All that would easily swing these states by an extra point or two, so keep in mind a lot of my margins easily could change to a bigger margin or even flip. So it is going to come down to the usual states. Youngkin's been in office a little bit longer than Shapiro. Both of them seem likable enough. Youngkin is bridging the Trump gap with the establishment. Shapiro is going to have to try to do it with progressives and the establishment. So we'll talk a little bit more about it at the end. But first, let's go through these states. We always start in Alaska, and that is going to be over 10. It's going to be safe for Youngkin. Hawaii, way over 10 for Shapiro. Now we've got the West Coast, Washington, Oregon, California. Nothing to change here. Those are safe for Shapiro. Now we've got Nevada. This would be a competitive swing state. And as I just said, anything changes, this state easily goes one way or the other. I'm trying to guess that it's a neutral national environment, and I settled on a tilt for Youngkin, but that is a very tenuous prediction. Shapiro could easily win that by a tilt or maybe even a lean margin. Next, Idaho and Utah, safe for Youngkin. Now we've got Arizona. Democrats have become more and more confident about winning Arizona, but a lot of it comes down to the candidate. Both of these guys are strong, but I think Youngkin is actually somebody that Arizona would support. I see it going back toward the Republicans, not by a huge margin, maybe only 1 to 2 points, so it is going to go leans for Youngkin. Montana, Wyoming, safe for Youngkin. Colorado, I think, could dip down just under 10. It's a pretty blue state in recent history. Doesn't seem like it's really going to trend hard toward the Republicans, but Glenn Youngkin seems to be the guy that could get it down to a high single-digit margin. Next state, New Mexico. I'm seeing it at about a 4 to 6 point margin for Shapiro, so I put it at a lean, but you might put it at likely. Next state, North Dakota, South Dakota, safe for Youngkin. Nebraska at large, safe for Youngkin. Now the 2nd district. The trends here are favorable for the Democrats. Glenn Youngkin might be the guy to be able to win it. Again, I would not count out Shapiro, but I do have it as a tilt for Youngkin. Kansas will be safe for Youngkin. Oklahoma, safe for Youngkin. Texas, that's going to be over 5, likely for Youngkin. Now we go to Minnesota. This is similar to New Mexico. I see it right around the 5 point margin for Shapiro. You could put this at leans. I ended up going with a likely for Shapiro. Iowa, over 5, likely for Youngkin. Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, safe for Youngkin. Next state, Wisconsin. This is another tough one. Absolutely could go either way. Shapiro is from Pennsylvania. His potential Rust Belt appeal might not stretch all the way into Wisconsin. Glenn Youngkin, I think he would be reasonably strong here, certainly in the suburbs. I think he would get out a lot of the Trump vote in the lighter red and the lighter blue counties, so it's kind of a coin flip, but I settled on a tilt for Youngkin. Illinois, safe for Shapiro. How about Michigan? This is another one where the margin is going to be close. I'm not counting out Youngkin here, but Shapiro, I think, is a little bit better for the Rust Belt, so I do have this at about a 1 to 2 point margin, leans for Shapiro. Indiana, safe for Youngkin. Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, safe for Youngkin. Now we've got Florida. The trends here have been kind to the Republicans. I think it's going to be over 5, probably mid-single digits, likely for Youngkin. Now let's take a look at Georgia. There are some parallels here with Arizona. Youngkin is not viewed as an extreme candidate where he would have no chance at winning the Atlanta suburbs. He's also going to get decent turnout in the red rural counties. It's possible the trends are too much for Glenn Youngkin to win it, but we also have someone like Brian Kemp. He easily won re-election in the midterms. So in this matchup, I think there's still enough red and purple vote that would end up going toward Youngkin. It would be close. I have it as low single digits, probably 1 to 2, leans for Youngkin. South Carolina, safe for Youngkin. North Carolina, leans for Youngkin. Now we've got Ohio. Fairly easy call here. It's going to be likely for Youngkin. Next door, West Virginia, safe for Youngkin. Now we've got Maine at large. That's also going to be borderline lean likely. I'll put it at leans for now. 1st district, safe for Shapiro, although it's not going to be as wide of a margin as it would be for someone like Trump on the ballot. The 2nd district, that's going to be over 5. It's going to be likely for Youngkin. Next state, New Hampshire. This would be extremely competitive. Youngkin could possibly win it, but I did give it to Shapiro by a tilt margin. Now we've got the blue states of Vermont, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. Those are all going to be safe for Shapiro. Some of the margins could get a little bit closer in a place like New Jersey or Connecticut, but I still think they're going to be easily double digits for Shapiro. Now we've got Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro's home state. Of course, he's going to win it. It's going to be by over 5. I don't think it would hit 10, so it's going to be likely for Shapiro. Last, we've got Glenn Youngkin's home state of Virginia. With him on the ballot, he's going to make it closer than pretty much any other Republican could. good. He's not from some far-off state. He is from Pennsylvania. He's also popular, and this state has trended hard toward the Democrats over the last decade plus. So Youngkin, I think, could win it if it's a little bit of a red environment, or if he does maintain his popularity all the way through a campaign. So I do think he would do at least 5 points better than other Republicans. But in this matchup against Shapiro, trying to look at it down the middle, I think the Nova counties, they're going to vote for Shapiro, and that would be enough to give this to Shapiro. I think it would be about 1 to 2 points, so I'm going to put it at leans for Shapiro. Maybe it gets down to a tilt, maybe Youngkin wins it by 1 or 2, but the most likely outcome for right now was to give it to Shapiro. So the final total is 279 for Glenn Youngkin, 259 for Josh Shapiro. Glenn Youngkin does come out on top here, even with losing his home state, but the usual 4 or 5 states are so close, a slight breeze could flip this in the other direction. I try to think about it fairly. I think Youngkin does appear to be a pretty strong candidate for the Republicans. He does a good enough job bridging the coalitions of the establishment and the Trump base. I'm assuming Shapiro would not really impress hard progressives, but he's going to do strong with the suburban vote, strong with independents. I think this would be a pretty epic showdown, especially in the debates. I'd like to see how both of them tackle all the issues. Maybe Youngkin falters and he blows it, or maybe Shapiro runs into a scandal. There's endless possibilities. I could make a case for Shapiro winning this. Youngkin probably has less room to expand. His best bet would probably be New Hampshire or his home state of Virginia, potentially Michigan as well. With polarization these days, there are just so few states in play, but I thought this was a fun one. But this is just what I think. Let me know in the comments. Do you mostly agree with this map? Or do you have Shapiro coming out on top? Do you have Glenn Youngkin winning his home state? Who do you think is better on policy? Who has more charisma? Let me know any of your thoughts down below. On your way out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Join the channel if you'd like to support it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.